So not surprisingly, it didn't take long for someone on Quora to ask how a non-pilot would land a fighter jet should he awaken to find himself at the controls of one. Probably not every passenger's worst nightmare, but, well, perhaps there's someone who dreads this moment. Well, have no fear, I'm here to help. Let's say you've managed to find yourself at the command of an F-16 Fighting Falcon, a modern, single-seat, multi-role fighter jet used by the US Air Force among many others. Assuming you're properly strapped in, your best bet might simply be to pull the ejection handle between your legs, grip it and give it a good hard tug upwards, and away you go. But in service of making an actually interesting video, I'll assume that for whatever reason you decide you're capable of landing this bird. Let's get to it. Unlike the 737 from the previous video, we don't have a sophisticated autopilot to rely on, so we'll have to practice flying. On your right side is the Flight Control System, or FCS. Grip it and let's practice turns. Push it to the left to bank left. Push it to the right to bank right. You'll surely notice that the stick is force sensing, so it won't actually move. It takes firm, strong pressure to get the F-16 to do what you want, so don't be timid with her. Pull the stick back to pitch up, push it forward to pitch down. Practice doing these maneuvers and then returning the aircraft to level flight. On the left side is the throttle quadrant, or TQS. Grip it and push it forward to increase speed. Pull it back to decrease speed. Good job. Next, we're going to learn about the heads-up display, or HUD, that's in front of your face. On the left side is the airspeed tape, which shows you how fast you're going. On the right side is the altitude tape, which shows you how high you are. In the middle is the heading tape, which shows you your compass heading. We're going to need that information in a bit. The final thing we're going to learn is the radios, so you can call for help. To the right of the HUD is the Data Entry Display, or DED. You control the DED with the Integrated Control Panel, or ICP, just below the HUD. You use the ICP and DED to control the radio. The screen shown right now is the DED's homepage. It shows us what the UHF and VHF radios are tuned to. If your DED doesn't look like this, then you need to go back to the homepage. This four-way switch here is called the Dauber switch. Move it to the left to return the DED to the homepage. We're going to tune the VHF radio to a special frequency called guard. This frequency is 121.5 MHz and is universally known as the emergency frequency. To do this, press the COM2 button. The DED now shows the page for controlling the VHF radio. Using the ICP, type 1215 for 121.5 MHz, then press enter. The DED will return to the homepage, and you can see now that the VHF radio is tuned to guard frequency. Now we need to talk on the radio. On the back side of the TQS is a four-way switch labeled COM switch. Pressing and holding this switch down transmits your voice over the VHF radio. What will you say on the radio? Beats me. Good luck explaining to everyone that you, quote, mysteriously came into possession of a military fighter aircraft. So, assuming you don't get shot down, you'll eventually be given headings and altitudes to fly that will get you to a nearby airbase, where military police will be eagerly waiting your arrival. Use nice, gentle turns to move the heading tape to the desired heading. You can add in a gentle descent when it's time to go down. Try not to let the tadpole here get below the 5-degree pitch line here. Keep everything smooth and under control. If, for whatever reason, things start to get out of control, just smoothly level the wings, then gently pull up out of the dive. Bring the airplane back to the horizon, take a deep breath, and try again. Try to control your airspeed as you descend. Keep it around 350 knots if possible. All these headings and altitudes should at some point bring you to the final approach of a runway in a good position to land. Now it's time to prepare for landing. Go ahead and pull the throttle all the way back to the stop and wait for your airspeed to drop below 300 knots. Once it does, lower the landing gear by pulling this lever out and down. You should see these three lights turn green to indicate all three wheels down and locked. The landing gear will help you slow down even further. Add power once you reach about 220 knots to hold that speed. Now we're going to use the HUD to fly the perfect landing. This is the sight picture you want to strive for on landing. The tadpole here is at the start of the runway, and in between the top and bottom edges of the staple here, and near the 3-degree glide slope marker here. Keep those three things aligned and you'll fly the perfect approach. If the tadpole drifts above the runway, reduce power by pulling the throttle back and make it go down. If it drifts below the runway, increase power. If the staple drifts above the runway, pull up to make it go down. If the staple drifts below the runway, push down. Maintain this sight picture as you fly to the runway. Once you cross over the runway, pull the stick back gently to flare. Put the gun cross on the 15-degree pitch line and hold it there. Reduce throttle all the way back. When your wheels touch down, keep holding back the stick as necessary to keep the gun cross at 15 degrees. To steer, push in on either pedal like this. Step on the pedals like this to use the wheel brakes. Let the nose fall forward gently and then apply brakes until the aircraft stops. Once the aircraft is stopped, it's time to shut down and get out. Lift the throttle handle up and over the aft gate to stop fuel flow to the engine. As the engine spools down, move this switch to the off position to turn off the battery. Find the canopy jettison handle on the left side and give it a firm pull. The canopy will jettison clear of the aircraft. Disconnect all the various hoses, cables, and seatbelts that run between the aircraft and your flight suit, then climb out of the cockpit on the left side and jump clear. And with that, you've just made a successful landing of an Air Force fighter jet. Congratulations, Maverick. See you at the O Club.